Hi, this is Mark from Trip Solo. Today I want to show you a game, a prototype of a huge game that is currently on GameFound, and this game is called HEXplore It, and this is volume 4, Domain of Mirza Noctis. As I said, this is the fourth, you can say, part of the series, and every game from HEXplore It a series is a standalone game, so you don't need to have the previous games. It's a bit similar, like let's say in Eon's End or Gloom of Kilford, but you have separate standalone games that you can in a way mix together and mix and match, but every game is a standalone title that you can play on its own, and you don't need the knowledge of previous games, or you don't need to have them, but of course you can. So this is the fourth volume, and as you can see probably from the cover, it says beta, so everything you will see in this video is probably going to change in the final version. The game is crowdfunded on GameFound currently, and there are many stretch goals that are being unlocked, and add-ons and expansions and stuff like this. So the final version probably will be different from this one, but it gives you a general idea how the game looks like and what can you find inside. This Domain of Mirza Noctis is set in a kind of Transylvanian vibe, like you have zombies, vampires, you have like the main villain is a bit similar to Dracula, and you have this dark and gloomy vibe. First part of HEXplore It was the Valley of the Dead King, then the second one was the Forest of Adrimon, then Sands of Shurax, and now this. So they are all set in different like geographical land. They have different visual style, but all the games in the series, they share the more or less similar mechanics. There are differences, of course, but in all of them you are a hero, you can say a hero. They are fantasy games and very RPG-like, because you have to create your character. You can play, this game can be played up to 6 people. And this is a cooperative game where you create a hero and you must defeat the main villain, Mirza Noctis, and along the way you will have different quests and different investigations and dungeons, and you will fight some encounters, enemies and bosses as well. So apart from the fact that there is a main villain that you need to defeat, the whole game is about, traveling across the land and discovering new terrain, new dungeons and crypts and quests and stuff like this. Everything that you will encounter will help you to get stronger, to alter and rise your statistics, so in the end you will be able to defeat Mirza Noctis. This will not be a typical unboxing, because as I said, this is a prototype version and everything is mixed in this box. I will set the game up and I will show you what the game is about, how it plays, very briefly, because this is a complex game. I have the rulebook here, and the rulebook is like 94 pages, as you can see. It's quite thick. It's smaller than the regular rulebooks, but there are a lot of things that you have to, learn if you want to play this game. So I will not be able to teach you how to play it, but I will explain the basics, and I will also show you what's new in this edition. Especially if you played or if you have the previous versions, the previous parts of the game, volumes they are called, because if you have volume 1, 2 and 3, then you will be probably interested what's new in this volume that is, you know, attractive and that is new for you. And thanks Jonathan, the designer of the game, for sending me the preview. I'm not a veteran of HEXplore It. This is my first experience with the series and my first experience with this game. So sorry if I make any mistakes. If you played the previous games and you have, you know, you are a veteran and you have a lot of experience, then sorry, I may do some mistakes. But I would like this video to be interested for people who didn't play HEXplore It like me before. But also I would like to show things that will be interesting for people that have experience with the series and that played previous games. So let me show you the table and let me show the game, how it looks like more or less when it's set up and ready to play. Okay, so this is how HEXplore It Domain of Mirza Noctis looks like more or less when it's set up on the table. This is just the initial setup of the game, and here you have the map. Here you have the area where you put circumstance cards. There are night cards and day cards up there because you can do your actions during the day or during the night. You have your dice. You have some hexes with additional terrain that you will reveal by exploring the land. You have dungeon cards. You have runes. If you played the previous HEXplore It games, some of the things will look similar, some of them will look new to you. But okay, this is my miniature that I'm using for the game. It's from Bloodborne, because this is, you know, a prototype. So everything you see here will probably be maybe a little different. There will be more things in the final version, because there are many stretch goals already unlocked, and there will be even more. So just remember, this is a prototype, and some things may change. Okay, but I will start from the start. When you start the game, you have to create your character, and you have different you know, classes, like roles. Like you have warlock, and you have the scout, and you have, you know, inquisitor and medium, and, you know, the witch. A lot of different classes that you can play. Here are your statistics, like different abilities and skills and vitals, your energy, your life, your ability to navigate, to explore, and to survive. Every character or class has different masteries, like special skills that he can use. Like here you have Hex or Coven. On the monk you have like cleanse and chakra flow. So when you choose one of them, you have to read it and, you know, decide which one is the most interesting for you. You have to get familiar with the skills. So this is part one of the character creation. Another thing that you have to use when you create your characters are your races. You pick a race, like you have, you know, Rona, Corvus, Umbral Shade, etc., etc. You have also some special abilities, and there's the information how this race modifies your basic statistics from the class that you have picked before. Like this one gives you +2 to energy, +1 to defend, +2 to first mastery, and you alter your class. One other thing that I forgot to tell you is that these are like laminated boards, so you can freely write on them. You can, you know, put your name, like, you know, Marek, and you can use it. You can put your, you know, stats here, like let's say 2, 1, 1. When it changes, you can erase it and, you know, add something to it. Here is the space where you will, you know, write down your backpack, your inventory and stuff like this. So this is a really cool idea, because you can, you know, erase it and write on the character cards. But this is also one of the reasons why this game really reminds me of playing an RPG, sometimes more than a board game, because it's not like you have your player board where you, I don't know, just use cards and stuff like this. If you have your equipment, you have to write down that you have, you know, some meat pies and you have some, you know, healing potions and stuff like this. You have to write everything, and you have your character sheet like in old school RPG. Okay, so here are races, and the new thing that was not in HEXplore It before is aspect. This is something new, but you can also choose one or randomize one to add to your character, and you can be like a cultist, noble, adventurer, peasant, for example. There will probably be more of them in the future. And it also changes your stats and also gives you some additional abilities for you. And then you have greater aspects that you can gain when you die. Because in this game, death sometimes is not the end. When your character dies, there is a chance he will become like a lycan, or, you know, a damned, or a vampire, or a zombie. And this way you will have different abilities, and you will play your game a little differently. There's also a new thing in HEXplore It. It's called keepsake. This is an ability that may come to play when your character when your character dies. There is a chance that you will get the greater aspect, but also there is a chance that the keepsake will come to play. It changes your abilities, and your friends from your party have a chance to, you know, revive you before it's too late. So as you can see, dying in Domain of Mirza Noctis, it's nothing bad. Other thing that is really cool are all those reference sheets, because you have the rule books. As I said, it's quite long. You have to read it at least once before you play the game. But after you read it, you can just use this reference sheets, and they, you know, cover basic rules of the game, like game turns. You have movement, skill, circumstance, event, and the villain phase. You have, you know, summary of villages, what you can do there, and, you know, information about monasteries, crypts, and things like this. So it's clever. You can put it on your table and just use it when you're not sure how to do different things. You don't have to, you know, search for stuff in the rulebook. So if you have never played HEXplore It, or if you have never heard of HEXplore It, the main goal is to defeat Mirza Noctis. This is the final boss. He's a villain, you know. He's making the people of this land miserable, and he wants their blood to conduct a, you know, horrible ritual, and you have to stop him. And how can you do it? You have your character that you created at the start of the game, and you have your map, your land, where you can move around, do different things, explore different things, fight bosses, you know, visit villages and monasteries, and, you know, crypts and dungeons and stuff like this, to become more and more powerful, to rise your statistics. You can gain different skills and equipment, and when you are ready, you can, you know, face Mirza Noctis and defeat him. Basically, the flow of the game is quite simple, because the first thing you do is movement. You can move around the map. You can move. The movement can be cautious, normal, or reckless, depending which one you choose. It depends how many hexes you can move. And then, you know, you move around the map. When you go to a border of the map, you can add additional hex tiles to the whole area, and they have, you know, different things hidden. Like, this is the castle of Mirza Noctis. Here is the boss. Here you have some crypts and, you know, monasteries and stuff like this. So you add another hex to your map, and then you can explore everything even further. Where you find the crypt, you can go to a crypt, and then there are dungeons, and this is something new that was not before in previous volumes of HEXplore It. Dungeons are also like terrain tiles that you can move around and you can explore. They also work as shortcuts, because if you go to a crypt, let's say one crypt is somewhere here, another crypt is there. So if you go into the crypt here, through the dungeon, you can, you know, exit on the other side of the map. So it's like a fast travel in a way. And in the dungeons, you can get new cards that give you some bonuses and benefits. Sometimes, you know, you can find some enemies inside and treasures and stuff like this. So this is another cool thing. And you can also, you know, gain, collect runes. Runes are the like primary way for your heroes to gain in power. The runes are here. They are in 3 colors. This is like a prototype. Normally you have green, blue and red runes. And you can use the runes to get power-ups, to get money at villages or power-ups at monasteries and unlock new things. So the runes are quite important. You can get runes by completing investigations and going to dungeons, as I said before. There's also blood magic, also a new thing in this series, some, you know, blood spells that you can learn and acquire during the game. When you look at the board, let's say board because you create the land, the map, it reminds me, for example, a little of Mage Knight, but this is a pure RPG adventure game. Mage Knight was an, you know, Euro game. It was a little similar. You were, you know, walking around the map and exploring and going to dungeons and, you know, fighting enemies. But it was like, you know, Euro game in disguise, like, you know, dressed as a fantasy game. And this is like RPG adventure where you have, you know, quests, you have a lot of things to do. So first there is movement, then there is the skill phase. You roll 3 dice to check if you were able to navigate, explore and survive. You can find, you must eat food, you can find some gold. Navigate tells you more or less if you managed to get to the point where you wanted to, or, you know, you wandered and you ended up not on the spot you wanted to. Then the third phase is circumstance, and this is the part of the game turn where you can get different cards from here. As you can see, you have like reflecting lake, and this is like an investigation. You have a specific place on the map that is marked with the red rune. And for us, this is, let me check, this is here. You can probably see this tree that is here. Where is the rune? So if you get to this location, you can try to complete this investigation and gain the award. You have different discoveries, and you have, you know, like bounty quests where you have to defeat like some different enemies. The new thing about this HEXplore It volume is that you have different deck for night and different deck for day. This is the day circumstance deck, and it's up to you if you decide to move during the day or during the night. The day and night cycle affects a lot of things, like you get different enemies and different circumstance cards, and as you can see, in the previous games I think there was one circumstance like deck that you took cards from, And as you can see, a lot of cards. They have some story text and that you have to read. It's cool. It's cool because this is like, you know, a lot to read and a lot cool things to discover in this game. In this circumstance cards, you can also find possibilities to get familiars. This is also a new thing. You have a chance to gain your like friendly assistant, a creature that will travel with you, and every familiar has got his unique skills and statistics and will help you with different things during your travels. What else? You have villages where you can go to buy different equipment. Let me show you something. Here you have the list of all the things that you can buy in, you know, villages or in monasteries. They have a price here. Monasteries are fun because at the start of the game they offer you some basic like equipment, but when you go to different crypts and when you open crypts, crypts are the entrances to dungeons that also must be unlocked to get to a dungeon by finding a key, for example. The more crypts you open, the more interesting things can be bought in monasteries. Like, you know, when a crypt is open, the monks go there, they pick up different fun and interesting equipment, and then they sell it to you. We also have this fun dice, the three-sided dice, and this dice represent blood collectors that works for the villain Mirza Noctis, and because he wants blood and he wants to conduct his ritual, there is his help sheet. This is his blood pool, and when he gets to, you know, 100, it's bad. It's bad for you. And these blood collectors, they go to different villages and they try to collect blood for Mirza Noctis. You can of course fight them, and during the night you have a chance to defeat them. There are tons and tons of things, and it's really hard to, you know, tell everything in a short video like this. But okay, we had movement, we had the skill check, then the circumstance deck, then there is event. Experience an event if you end movement of any of these locations, like village where you can buy stuff, monastery, crypt, boss, you can fight bosses, and investigation, then you can check the investigation, and there is this villain phase. So you have just 5 phases during every turn that you have to do. There are a lot of rules about, you know, combat and about going to dungeons and stuff like this, but the rule book is constructed quite well. You have different sections like, you know, rewards, combat, you have some examples, and, you know, dungeons, investigations. So you don't have to remember everything at once. You can just read the sections you are interested in when you, for example, get to dungeon or when you fight. What can you fight in this game? There are a lot of encounters. This is just, you know, prototype. In the final version they might be even more, and you can find, you know, golems and night stalkers. A lot of animated armor. Some don't have, you know, art yet because it's prototype. Shadow dragon, a lot of different, you know, enemies. They give you some, you know, rewards like gold and, you know, power-ups that you can apply to your character, and you can also farm the encounters for food. Here are different power-ups that you can get, like +1 to second mastery. They help you to upgrade your statistics, so you become stronger and stronger. You can get these power-ups by fighting enemies or encounters, or by giving the runes that you found to monasteries. A lot of options. So this game is in a way like, you know, an RPG sandbox where it's up to you where you will go. what will you do if you want to go to dungeons or do the investigations or fight enemies. It's really up to you. The main goal is to defeat Mirza Noctis, but how you will get there, it's really up to you. Here are different bosses that you can encounter during the game. The boss locations are placed on the map. This is also like a, you know, beta version. Some bosses, they don't have the art, but you can see there are a lot of them. They have a lot of abilities, but they also give you some cool rewards like additional power-ups and gold and food. Cool art. So this is how more or less HEXplore It looks like. This is a game, in my opinion, where you really have to, you know, commit yourself to. you cannot probably play it when you have 1 hour break at your work, or when it's, you know, 11 p.m. at home and you have to go to work next day. This is a game that you will probably have to set up on a weekend, maybe when you have a few hours for yourself, and play it. But it's really fun. It's not easy. You can play it pure solo with just 1 character, or you can play with as many characters as you want. But the cool thing is that you can play it pure solo. You just take, you know, the character you like. There will be some special solo rules in the final rulebook that will help you a little on your journey. But this is great because you don't have to use, don't have to track a lot of, you know, characters when you're playing on your own. You can just use 1. What else? The rules for solo play or for multiplayer game are exactly the same, because you move around the map as a group. It's not like every character has a separate minifigure. You move around as a whole group. It's a cooperative game, so either the whole party wins or loses. So it's also cool. You don't have to learn a specific, you know, rules for solo play. And I hope you find HEXplore It interesting. This video may be a little chaotic because it's I'm new to this series, and I'm new to this game. I don't have much experience with it, and I wanted to, you know, show you how it looks like and what can you find inside. You can find the link to GameFound, to the GameFound campaign in the description of this video. You can get there the Domain of Mirza Noctis, but you can also get their previous volumes of the game, the expansions that were released before, and basically the whole, you know, back catalog of HEXplore It. Visit my Instagram and, you know, Facebook, Twitter. I will post my review or preview of this game. You will see some photos of it. And thank you for watching, and thank you for, you know, being interested in HEXplore It. It's a really cool game. I'm new to this game, but I already like it very much, and I cannot wait when I will have, you know, time to sit and to play and to defeat Mirza Noctis maybe at least once, because he's a tough enemy. So thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.